The Gulf of Aden, the Indian Ocean. 10 a.m. The sun is a blazing eye. In a cloudless sky, the MV Maersk Alabama, an American cargo vessel. On board 20 crewmen, no weapons, no security detail. They are sailing through one of the most treacherous waterways on the planet, a place known as Pirate Alley. For hours, ghosts have been on the radar. 3 small boats maneuvering with lethal speed. Closing in, the captain needed no introduction. Somali pirates. At 10 o'clock sharp, they made their move. 3 skiffs, 15 heavily armed men, AK-47s, RPGs, and grappling hooks. They were professionals, hijackers. They'd taken crews for ransom and made millions of dollars. They thought this was just another payday. They were dead wrong. Because what the pirates couldn't have known was that just 40 miles over the horizon, the USS Bainbridge was watching their every move. And 12 miles behind them, 2 Navy SEAL teams were already in the air. The pirates believed they were the hunters. They were about to become the prey. This is the true story of one of the most one-sided naval showdowns in modern history. The day Somali pirates learned a lesson they would never forget. When 15 criminals went up against the full power of the United States Navy, and the world watched as justice arrived at 900 meters per second. But first, let's rewind. 4 hours earlier, 6 a.m., the Maersk Alabama leaves port in Djibouti. Its destination, Mombasa, Kenya. Its cargo, life-saving food aid for East African refugees. At the helm is Captain Richard Phillips, a 53-year-old merchant mariner from Vermont. He'd navigated these waters dozens of times. He knew the dangers, the hijackings, the risk of being taken hostage, but he also knew the route. He knew the protocols to keep his ship safe. At 7 a.m., the ship's radar operator spots a troubling contact. Captain, 3 contacts on radar, 15 miles out. They're moving fast, heading straight for us. Through his binoculars, Captain Phillips confirmed the threat. 3 small skiffs, the unmistakable profile of Somali pirates. Sound the general alarm. All hands to emergency stations. Initiate anti-piracy protocols, now. In moments, the crew turned the ship into a fortress. Interior doors sealed, external ladders disabled. It was every defensive measure a civilian cargo ship could possibly take. But they were armed with steel, not fire. No weapons, no security team. At 800 hours, they had no way to fight back. Captain Phillips sent the most desperate call a sailor can make. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is the Maersk Alabama. We are under attack by suspected pirates. Our position is 12 degrees north, 45 degrees east. We request immediate assistance. The call was patched through to Combined Task Force 151, the international coalition hunting pirates in these waters. The nearest warship was the USS Bainbridge, a powerful Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, but she was 40 miles away. The Bainbridge immediately altered course. Engines screamed to flank speed, but at 40 miles, they were at least 90 agonizing minutes away. Too far and too slow. But what the pirates didn't know was that the Bainbridge wasn't the only American asset in the area. 2 Navy SEAL teams were conducting training exercises 60 miles north when they intercepted the distress call. Immediately, 2 helicopters were scrambled. They would reach the Maersk Alabama. They would cut off any chance of escape, but they would not arrive in time to stop the attack. At 1000 hours, the pirate skiffs closed to 1 mile, then half a mile, then 200 meters. And then they opened fire. AK-47 rounds hammered the ship's superstructure. Rocket-propelled grenades tore through the air, missing by feet. On the bridge, Captain Phillips made the hardest decision of his life. All crew, abandon the bridge. Get below deck. Hide. I'll stay. I'll handle the negotiations. Then, the pirates boarded. Grappling hooks bit into the ship's steel railings. 15 men scrambled over the side, all of them armed. Aggressive shouts echoed in Somali. Their leader, a rail-thin man in his 20s named Abduwali Muz, he stormed the bridge. He leveled an AK-47 directly at Captain Phillips. I am the captain now. That phrase, that single moment, would echo around the world. But what happened next is the real story. The part most people have never heard. Because while Muz was seizing control of the bridge, the crew was fighting back from the shadows. They crippled the ship, silencing its massive engines. They severed the power to all navigation systems, and 19 crew members vanished. Deep inside the ship's engine room, a sealed compartment, a fortress the pirates could not breach. The pirates had the ship, but it was a dead prize. They couldn't steer it, they couldn't move it, they couldn't escape. It was a fatal mistake. They were trapped on a ghost ship, adrift in the most dangerous waters on the planet. And the United States Navy was closing in, fast. 11:15 a.m. 2 SH-60. Seahawk helicopters sliced through the sky, appearing on the horizon. The sight of them sent a shockwave of panic through the pirates. They began shouting desperate. One pirate raised his AK-47, firing wildly at the sky. It was useless. The helicopters were too high, too fast. The SEALs aboard those birds, they were not there to talk. They were there to assess, to watch, to wait, and to prepare for the violent rescue that was now inevitable. At 1100 hours, the USS Bainbridge arrived, a 7,000-ton Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, a warship capable of eliminating any threat at sea on land or in the air. As the pirates watched it approach, the crushing reality of their situation set in. They had captured a ship, but in doing so, they had sealed their own fate. There was no escape. There were no reinforcements. There was only the end. The pirate leader Abdul Ali Moose made his move. He grabbed Captain Phillips, using him as a human shield. The demand was simple: tell him to back off, or I kill him. A desperate transmission from Captain Phillips reached the USS Bainbridge. This is Phillips. They're armed. They're desperate. I'm requesting you maintain distance. The Bainbridge held its position, 500 meters out, close enough to monitor, far enough to avoid a bloodbath. But what the pirates didn't know was that a lethal plan was already in motion. At 12:30 p.m., elite operators from SEAL Team 6 began to board the Bainbridge. They arrived by helicopter, silent, unseen. Snipers, assault teams, negotiators, the very best trained for this exact moment. Their mission: rescue Captain Phillips, neutralize the threat, end the siege. But there was a complication. At 1:45 p.m., the pirates made a fatal mistake. They had lost control of the cargo vessel. The crew was hidden. The Navy was closing in. So they took their only asset, Captain Phillips, an abandoned ship. He was forced into one of their skiffs, a tiny 20-foot lifeboat sealed from the outside. The equation had changed. 4 pirates, 1 hostage, adrift in a tiny boat in the middle of the ocean, hunted by the United States Navy. This was no longer a standoff. It was a hostage crisis. For 3 agonizing days, the tension mounted. The USS Bainbridge shadowed the lifeboat's every move, never more than 100 meters away. Close, but not close enough to provoke a fight. Onboard SEAL snipers maintained a constant deadly watch. Every pirate tracked through a high-powered rifle scope, calculating the shot, awaiting the single word: execute. Inside the lifeboat, conditions were collapsing. Suffocating heat, no food. With water running low, the pirates became more desperate, more unpredictable. Then suddenly, Captain Phillips saw his chance. He jumped into the ocean, swimming for his life toward the Bainbridge. The pirates opened fire, dragging him back into the boat. That was the final straw. The decision was made. On April 12th, day 4 of the crisis, the time for talk was over. The order came down from the highest level. SEAL Team 6 was authorized to use lethal force. The condition if Captain Phillips' life was in imminent danger. At 19:19 hours, the snipers had their window. 3 pirates, all visible, all exposed. Each one held a weapon on Captain Phillips, a fatal mistake. 3 shots, 3 targets, from a moving platform over 100 meters away. The seas were churning, the conditions nearly impossible. But these were not ordinary snipers. They were United States Navy SEALs, the deadliest marksmen on the planet. At 19:19 and 23 seconds, 3 rounds left their barrels in under 2 seconds. 3 hits, 3 hostiles down, a symphony of synchronized lethal precision. The 4th pirate, Abdul Wali Muse, was aboard the USS Bainbridge attempting to negotiate. His negotiations were over. He was immediately taken into custody. Captain Phillips was rescued, completely unharmed. The entire engagement, from the first shot to the final rescue, took 11 seconds. 11 seconds to shatter a 4-day hostage crisis. The world learned the story in hours. American captain rescued. Navy SEALs kill pirates. Hostage standoff ends. But the headlines couldn't capture the reality. The training, the focus, the sheer impossibility of those shots. But within the special operations community, they knew. This was extraordinary. 3 moving targets on a small, bobbing lifeboat in the dark, taken from the fantail of a warship in rough seas 100 meters away. And all 3 shots were precision headshots. Instantaneous, decisive, zero danger to the hostage. It was quite literally a 1 in a million operation. Captain Richard Phillips was immediately airlifted to safety. Reunited with his crew, he later recounted his fear. "I was never afraid they'd miss the pirates," he said. "I was afraid they might hit me by accident. But they didn't. It wasn't even close." The lone surviving pirate, Abdul Wali Muse, was flown to New York to face American justice. He was swiftly convicted of piracy, kidnapping, and hostage-taking. He was sentenced to 33 years in federal prison. During his trial, prosecutors presented chilling video evidence from the Bainbridge. 3 shots fired in the dark. 3 targets down. The trial was short, the jury out for only 4 hours. Their verdict was unanimous. But the real impact wasn't felt in a courtroom. It echoed across the world in Somalia. For years, Somali pirates had ruled these waters with impunity. They would seize massive ships, holding crews hostage for months. Their price, millions of dollars in ransom. And for a time, the world paid, because the alternative was a nightmare. Rescue operations were dangerous, complex, and often failed. But the Maersk Alabama incident changed the entire equation. A new message was sent from Washington, D.C. It was brutally clear. You attack an American vessel, the United States Navy will hunt you down. No more negotiations, no more ransoms, only justice. Within months, piracy in the Gulf of Aden plummeted by 60%. This was not because of more patrols. It was not because of better security. It was because every pirate on the high seas finally understood the risk was no longer worth the reward. 3 dead, 1 facing a life sentence. The result of 1 single, perfectly executed rescue. That is a deterrent. But the true mark of these operators is what happened next. They didn't celebrate. They didn't seek recognition. They simply returned to their base. They wrote their after-action reports. And they prepared for the next mission. Because for them, this was just another day, another operation, another chance to bring an American home safely. The only reason this story is even known is because Captain Phillips shared it, in interviews, in a book, in a major motion picture. The SEALs themselves, they remain silent. And that is the quiet difference between a soldier and a warrior. The mission is all that matters. At 10 a.m. that morning, 15 pirates made the last mistake of their lives. To them, it looked like a helpless cargo ship, an easy target, a fast payday. But they never saw the destroyer lurking 40 miles over the horizon. They were blind to the helicopters closing in from 12 miles out. And they had no idea snipers were already watching them through high-powered scopes. 3 pirates paid the ultimate price. A 4th was captured. The survivors learned a lesson that would echo across the seas. Captain Richard Phillips returned home to his family. The crew of the Maersk Alabama went back to their mission. And for the Navy SEALs, it was on to the next fight. But somewhere on the lawless coast of Somalia, a story began to spread among men who preyed on the weak. They heard about the unbreakable American captain. They heard about the ghost ship destroyer and the 3 impossible shots. And after hearing it, they chose a different line of work. This is deterrence, not delivered with threats, but with decisive action. This is justice, not born from revenge, but executed with surgical precision. This is the United States Navy, protecting American citizens anywhere in the world, against any enemy. 100 hours the moment pirates attacked the wrong vessel. 19 hours, the moment Navy SEALs reminded the world why America's military is the finest fighting force ever assembled. 3 shots, 4 days, 1 single message to every criminal on the high seas. Do not interfere with American sailors, because the U.S. Navy doesn't negotiate with pirates. It eliminates them,